Think back to your first day at primary school. For many of us, it's one of our clearest childhood memories. Oh, there's me, waving goodbye to my proud mum. But the fact is, we really can't trust our childhood memories. Because for these early memories, gaps appear and our brains fill in the details. Before long, memories can become a mishmash of your memories, those of your friends and family, and photos or home videos. So what you think happened can be quite different from the reality you actually lived through. To understand why you can't trust your memories, we need to ask what a memory actually is.
So people often think that memories are sort of these physical structures that live in the brain, almost like something in a computer, like a file that you can go and open and find. Instead, the memories actually live as networks that are distributed across the brain. And so when you're especially reliving a memory of your life, you are accessing often lots of different parts of your brain, which all lead you to be able to have a full, complex representation of what happened.
So some of the brain cells that were activated during my actual experience are reactivated when I remember it. Clusters of brain cells that form a memory are linked up. And each time we remember, these links become stronger. But strong doesn't always mean stable.
For a long time, people thought that if you stored something in your long-term memory, it was pretty much there permanently. But that pretty much got shattered when it became clear that there wasn't very good evidence for the permanence of memory in the first place.
4 years of piano lessons.
Yeah, it looks pretty faded.
You know what? Save chopsticks and heart and soul, get rid of the rest.
So, our memories aren't fixed or permanent. And in fact, they're always changing.
We're essentially reconstructing our narrative rather than reliving it. This we refer to as reconsolidation, and we refer to as pulling up this memory network, accessing it, and actually laying it down again. And every time you reconsolidate, every time you put this network back down, you're actually able to change it.
And this tendency for memories to change is hugely important. And it's totally natural. It happens to everyone. But it's possible to manipulate this process.
You can supply people with misinformation that can change their memory. You can ask them leading or suggestive questions that insinuate that there were details present that there weren't. Out there in the real world, people are exposed to media coverage where they get ideas about an event, maybe a high publicity event that they themselves have witnessed.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period.
All of these are ways in which new information can enter somebody's memory and cause a transformation, an alteration, a contamination in that original person's memory.
Those aren't your memories, they're somebody else's.
Using these insights, researchers wanted to see if they could go one step further.
What you can do is you can get people to come into the lab. You can tell them that they experienced something that never actually happened. When you were 14 years old, you initiated a physical fight and the police called your parents.
I don't think I've ever been in a fight. I'm so confused.
Over the course of 3 interviews, you get them to repeatedly imagine what could have happened. And what could have happened starts to turn into what would have happened, which turns into what did happen.
Remember like a verbal fight, and maybe I seems so unlike, but maybe I pushed or something.
Good, okay. And so what you're doing is you're activating their imagination, and you're activating real fragments of memories, of things that they can remember, like their best friend, their family members. And in the end, what you've done is you've created a whole fictional representation, a whole memory of something that never actually happened.
You can see how this can have major consequences. It doesn't really matter what happened on my first day of school. No one is really interested except me. But if memory is this unstable, can it be relied upon when it's really needed, like in a court of law?
We're going to be able to prove to you in this case things the public didn't know, things the police didn't know, were provided by a young man who was at the scene.
As someone who's been a memory expert in courtrooms, it's a fascinating thing to watch how slippery and unreliable memories can be, and how really the criminal justice system is deeply affected by police interviews, by therapists.
Come on, buddy. Let's get this out, okay? Take us through it. It's the video in your head. Play it for us.
And so it's really important that people who are evaluating this evidence understand all the different things that can go wrong.
Advanced DNA testing showing that Mr. Halsey, despite his conviction in the late 80s, did not brutally murder 2 young children.
Over 70% of DNA exonerations in the US have been shown to involve inaccurate eyewitness testimony, which highlights just how much is at stake when it comes to justice and memory. But it's not all dark. False memories can help people as well.
Understanding false memories allows us to also therapeutically intervene when someone has experienced something or is remembering something that is negatively influencing their lives, both in terms of just regular talk therapy, but also in terms of deeper medical approaches to making those memories more flexible, being able to change them, and ultimately improve people's lives.
These kinds of insights into the nature of memory are a great tool for therapists treating depression, or tackling phobias like fear of flying or spiders, all the way up to dealing with conditions like PTSD. So we know that memories are a huge part of who we are, but we also know that they are constantly changing, updating, and reshaping to fit our needs. Sometimes they are completely false.
When you look at this process, what you're seeing is creativity, you're seeing imagination, you're seeing problem solving, you're seeing intelligence. I mean, what you're really seeing when you look at the capability of creating false memories is we see the capability to be human. And so I think that false memories in and of themselves are part of the human experience, and we just need to better understand them rather than to be afraid of them.
Thanks for watching. Leave your comments below and subscribe to watch more videos in this series.